Welcome to Moon Harbor Heroes. This is Doomsday, A Face's Story, Part 1. Make sure you stay through the credits for one final scene.
Hey, editor.
Hello, Allie.
And okay, no time for small talk. I have bones to pick, and they all have your name on them. Where the hell is Lighthammer? There was the musical, and then the whole fight with Null happened, and then everything went white, and then nothing. His fridge is super empty. I have to keep stealing things from Vixen and missing Lynx's wedding tables, and I'm pretty sure people are starting to notice. Besides, there's only so many chocolate roses a girl can eat before she needs something more substantial.
You could buy food.
Don't be ridiculous. That's what I have Lighthammer for. Which brings us back to the point. Where the hell is he?
Well, line ended.
With that cliffhanger? Who made that choice?
Someone way above my pay grade.
We'll go fight them or something.
I'm not in a comic book.
Okay, so hear me out. Do it anyway. Throw hands, Captain Editor.
I absolutely will not do that.
You should draw them into a comic for me then. Totally unrelated to the whole fighting them thing, but also if you do, you should make me buffer. Ooh, and give me a knife.
I don't draw comics. I just edit them. And do the lettering. And sometimes write them. Honestly, my characterization is really nebulous and changes based on the episode. I feel like someone should address that plot hole.
I'm not worried about your plot right now. I'm worried about Lighthammers. So chop chop, let's get to the comic making.
That's not how this works.
I need a pen. Draw me a pen.
I still don't draw. Besides, Allie, don't you think you're being a bit dramatic?
I have never once in my entire life been dramatic, ever. But you took too long, so I stole one out of Flyby's pockets. God, she has so many pockets.
And what exactly do you need a pen for?
Lighthammer comes back and gives Allie his credit card.
That's not how you write a comic.
Then you do it.
You're never going to stop bothering me until I do, are you?
Nope.
Fine.
Perfect. All we need is to get Lighthammer back into his apartment so he can stock up his kitchen.
And the rest of the team?
Yeah, sure, them too.
I'm beginning to think you might be a little selfish, AV.
How dare you? I just want the readers to get a satisfying story arc that doesn't end with their heroes failing to save the world. Like, what's going on with Brian and the Phoenix? And did Null eat Inky? Are Nube and Sana gonna get married and live a happy little transbian life? I have so many burning questions.
I see.
So where do we start? Just write some, they hand wave it, and bring them all back?
Well, no. You wanted something satisfying. Rushing over big threats to speed to a conclusion won't be satisfying.
Fine. What do we need to address?
What do you mean, we?
I'm invested now, so I'm helping.
Somehow I doubt that's true.
I'm super helpful. When have I ever not been helpful?
Remember when you kidnapped the Blade of Sorrows into hell?
Sure, but...
Or when you, of your own volition, brought together a group of meta-aware heroes for a line that you got distracted with and never finished?
To be fair, the writers had a lot going on.
Or when you...
Okay, I get it. Still, I'm here. Let's brainstorm. Let's spitball. There are no bad ideas.
Okay, what if we did a time jump?
Bad idea. Next.
Null is eating Earth and our heroes have to save it.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Why?
What do you mean, why?
Why do our heroes need to save it? Why can't other people do it?
Because, no one else remembers what happened?
Perfect. And for the readers, and definitely not me, because I totally remember, what did happen?
Oh, so you don't remember either.
I do so remember. We started with the arc where Faye was fighting her demon and Ryder Typhon was fighting his dad, the Dark Rider. And then Lighthammer came in and he and Ryder started dating and he hated Faye. And then there was Blockade and they fought the Asterons and stole Brian. And then Faye beat her demon.
Stop rushing. Besides, you're missing a crucial element of the first part of that story.
I'm not missing it. I'm ignoring it because it makes me sad.
Carl was maybe the most important member of the team, Allie. His presence sets up Enki's arrival.
Yeah, but he died while he was fighting Faye's demon, and we had a funeral issue, and I cried a lot, so I'm choosing to ignore it.
Do you mind if I take over for a bit?
Sure.
Our story begins with the Faces team, the most notable members being Ryder Typhon, Faye, and Carl, a sentient swarm of insects, later turned into a being of pure elemental energy. Faye had a demon named Zielkiev implanted into her brain by the cult of the White Death, which wanted to bring about the end of the world. Rider Typhon was raised by his uncle Leo, aka Rider Hyun, but his father, the Dark Rider, was threatening the city. In their first real fight as a team, they went up against the Smiling Phoenix, an immortal quasi-demonic entity who used their power to take over whoever was holding their amulet or sometimes cohabitate with them. They defeated them, but Carl kept the amulet and started using the Phoenix's power. The team then returned to fighting their two primary threats, during which time Carl and Faye started a relationship, though it was a bit toxic because Carl did everything that Faye asked without a second thought and forgave her for everything, and Lighthammer decided that he would be in a relationship with Rider Typhon, so he just kind of inserted himself into Rider's life.
First of all, phrasing. Second of all, I feel like you should have mentioned that Lighthammer was a celebrity and was like super vain and self-absorbed and had a really obnoxious apartment with a mural of him on the ceiling as both God and Adam in the creation of man's Sistine Chapel painting and constantly live-streamed everything.
You have such a low opinion of him, given that he's your roommate.
He's not my roommate. He's a person who I sometimes live with and steal his food and his books to throw at people because I'm meta-aware and can move through panels, which is hilarious.
And not at all annoying for the other characters, I'm sure.
I feel like you're insulting me, but I'm choosing to ignore it. Wasn't Brian in by then?
Nope, they didn't mean Brian until Blockade.
Right. What was going on with Blockade?
Honestly, it doesn't really matter to this line. It was more of a Cataclysm Crew and Legacies thing.
Ah, right.
And then Blockade happened, and Brian, aka Asimov, came on board. He brought with him Isaac, his robotic sidekick.
I remember Isaac. Brian left him in the other dimension, then stopped using technology because he had the Smiling Phoenix in him.
Yes, but that's going out of order.
I know. I'll tell the next part. Brian came on board, and he had a shamed Dykstra, who was a sentient being made out of, like, liquid metal. Before they could deal with that, though, it was time to defeat Faye's demon. So Ryder, Brian, Faye, and Carl confront her and win, but Carl dies in the process. There's a very sad funeral issue, and then the team shifts to be Ryder, Brian, and Lighthammer for a while, and then eventually they find Enki.
Enki, who was Carl's energy, molded by Gaia, and reborn as a younger child with nature powers.
Was that officially confirmed?
Gaia told Enki at some point.
Does Enki remember?
I thought we agreed that no one remembered.
No, we said no one else remembered. The heroes remember?
You used remember so many times in that dialogue box.
I can do it more. Remember.
What happened next, Allie?
I said remember a few more times. Remember.
In faces. What happened in faces?
Oh, right. Brian got bit by a snake and got snake powers, so he can make things disappear into a liminal space, and then pull them out later to use when he needed. There are a bunch of villains trying to eat Enki because he was like the gateway to Gaia or something.
That's an oversimplification, but sure, it works.
The team trapped one of the villains, Namshub, who was made of scrolls, in a tree in Enki's magical Gaia sanctuary. They fought Dykstra and found an amulet that had the Smiling Phoenix inside.
Yep, and Brian picked it up, and then the Phoenix started to work with him, enhancing his powers and giving him more.
Which left Lighthammer as the only person on the team without powers, because he's just a lame human with a cool suit.
I really feel like you and he need couples counseling.
Nah, I'm like his annoying younger sister. He loves me. So anyway, they were going after Null, who was like the big bad trademark. He made a habit of eating the energy of planets and like leaving them a total wasteland. Then he headed off to a new one to do the same thing. They defeated him once, but they found out he had like a fail-safe, which basically let him be born again in a new reality, which got smashed into ours. So there were two realities happening at once, and some weird stuff happened, like the original Lighthammer, who our Lighthammer stole the mantle from, but then who became our Lighthammer's begrudging mentor, now having a daughter named Daisy, who branded herself as the real Lighthammer. And then there were the lesbians.
I feel like they're more than just lesbians. They have names.
Sure, yeah, Nube and Sana. Nube was the daughter of the superhero El Aguila, this overly masculine dude with a cape who really wanted a son. And he had one, except he didn't because she was trans. She just didn't realize it until she rebelled, became a villain, and started working for Curse, who was Sana's villainous dad. Nube meets Sana, realizes that she's trans just like Sana is, comes out, and then they fell in love, but like in a really cute way.
Sana and Nube ran away from the Curse and eventually are brought into the team by Lighthammer. The team is still trying to find Null and defeat him and find out that he is actually Nathaniel Hull.
Yeah, you all made that twist so obvious.
And people still didn't pick up on it. It was right in front of their faces, but they didn't even notice.
People are bad at things. All of them, including Daisy, go to defeat Nathaniel Hall, but they're too late. There's an explosion in his lab, and the world is engulfed in white flame, and that's where the story ended.
You remember more than I thought you would.
I told you that I did. I just needed a little bit of a refresher on the details. Oh, Gun Wizard.
Right. Gun Wizard was a villain who could rustle basically anything, from zoo animals to construction equipment to mythological animals.
And they fought the team like 6 times.
I think it was 3, but still. Recurring villain.
But in a fun way. I consider them to be part of the team too.
They very much are not.
Anyway, that's everything.
Well, there was the whole Phoenix was trying to steal everyone's powers little by little thing, and Lighthammer made a second persona, Requiem, which was just to fight a nemesis in private and not at all to experiment with their gender.
Oh, I forgot about that. Should I stop using he, him pronouns for Lighthammer?
They seem pretty gender fluid, so I'm probably going to switch around a bit.
And now that brings us to here, right after the world exploded. How do we get from the world being engulfed in white flame and back to Null eating it?
Comic book nonsense, probably.
Yeah, that'll do it. And no one in the world remembers what's going on except our heroes. Oh, maybe only some of them remember. Or just one of them. Maybe no one remembers except...
Allie, I love your enthusiasm, but maybe we leave some of that to the writers.
Whoa, we're the writers here.
We can come up with the ideas, but writing a comic takes a whole team.
Can't we just skip all of that and just, throw some doodles on a page with some words and call it a day?
Do you want a satisfying end to this story or not? If we're doing it the right way.
Fine, I get to pick the title, though.
You know what? Deal. What is it?
I think it's, oh, I got it. It's called Doomsday, a Faces story.
Doomsday, a Faces story. It's a callback to the Hatchlings arc. I like it.
Of course you do. I'm a creative genius.
Sure, Allie. Sure you are.
What are you waiting for? Get to writing.
Our issue opens on a page that repeats the final moments of our previous issue. This time, however, it is recolored and darkened, the line work heavy, as if drowning in despair.
All of the conduits and energy throughout here lead directly to a large machine at the very end of this lab. We see all the machinery that's still working pulse again, having the same effects, splitting Brian, Inky, and Lighthammer's vision, and sending pain through Sana and Daisy's heads for just a moment. Inky, as you look at it, you can feel just that heavy Null energy, and the doors of it start to slowly open.
We better follow the purpley things.
While Daisy is getting a headache from all of this, I'd like to take the opportunity to squirrel away from her and corner Lighthammer. Why did you bring them here?
Gaia showed us a vision of you all seeing the world ending, and we wanted to stop that from happening.
You can see how dangerous this is for them, right?
The world is falling apart. It is more dangerous for them to not be here than for them to be here. Also, I tried to abandon them and they came here anyway, so I was on the same page as you, but they're here now, so let's work with them.
Why'd you have to talk to her about the...
Technically, it wasn't me, but it was a mistake anyway, and also you probably should have told her. But that is besides the point. Let's talk about that afterwards. Let's go defeat Null. Again.
In the background of that panel, Nube is giving Brian the, dirtiest look.
We get the panels of this, slowly opening machine, these pulses of energy running into it, and the team.
I think Sana is going to, hug Nube and give her a kiss just in case.
She kisses you. And then she pulls back and says, "We've been through much. I'm not gonna let a small thing like an apocalypse come in between us. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah, just kiss me again when it's over.
Promise." And then she goes and starts destroying things.
I want to pull Inky aside. Where's Null?
I point at the purple tentacles that go from my head outside the door.
Yeah, they're pointing at an ominous booth machine with slowly opening doors the other side of the lab.
I'm storming in his direction.
I'm right behind you.
I think Sana is retransforming, and then going to also head nullwards.
And Daisy is as well. The doors in this machine, like, almost fully open as Brian, like, reaches it. There's, like, steam pouring out and smoke. It's very, very dramatic. I think we see, like, Null's, like, armored foot step out.
I want to try to get the first move in on this guy, or else I might let the Phoenix down. I am going to try to absorb him. I mean, like, as soon as I can make out the shape of him in the cloud of escaping dust. I don't care who sees me do this. There's going to be a digital poof and a hole in the dust.
And I think there's this moment of just really heavy quiet. Then the machine pulses again. Brian, you feel this just enormous pressure inside your brain. It's almost like the weight of a lot of universes. We see the Phoenix's fire, like, burning up in your eyes. And we see its voice bubble saying, "This may be too much power." And then we get an overhead shot of the lab. And Brian explodes into white fire. And then we get an overhead shot of the building as it's engulfed in this white fire. And then it pulls out and engulfs Moon Harbor.
We get 2 pages of nothing but pure white light. And then a montage begins. Tiny fragments of previous comics, all overlaid into one chaotic
For
kaleidoscope.
just a moment, we see, like, the flames of the Phoenix
You
burning.
should
On
put
the
Dexter
side,
in the tree.
You think I would send a cease and desist to somebody who's just picking up the Lighthammer mantle?
The Phoenix was an invasion, and the bugs were just a host. It's his energy. He could have been
fall out
the
of her
bridge.
hands, and then
You
she
all
just
failed.
grips
to
it
protect
tighter.
her.
Ask a question. Can the answer
And he just looks over at Gerard and says,
Gerard,
eat
But I need you, Light, and Asimov to be heroes in your own.
I'm not a hero.
I think he'll be fine.
You've had, like,
And that's
6
not yours
issues
either.
max. Okay. Hi, I'm Allie.
You can't be gone,
I'm
Carl.
sorry,
I can't do this without you. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I guess Brian and I need to talk. They are about 6 feet tall, and they are absolutely wreathed
I'm going to try to take control
a dark
of his
red
brain.
purple. He needs to see your world if he can be the bridge.
Should we just, like, have...
Wasn't he important to
And
you?
he steps off the shark, points his hand at the shark, and the shark shrivels and dies.
God, I was too slow. I'm sorry I left you alone.
We do not kill people. Killing is wrong.
You mean like a beach episode?
Technically, this is
Just like
his
with my mouth
power.
open.
Hi, Daisy, right?
Are you being weird because I'm beating you with followers?
But the 3 of us are going to make an incredible team.
It was never about freeing. It was about rustling.
Really proud of all of us.
You can
I'm
do
really proud of
this.
you too.
I love you.
There's
This is gonna be
something
great.
really wrong here, isn't there?
And then we turn the page.
It wasn't supposed to be like this.
We see a 2-page spread of a desolate landscape. Smoke and steam and dust billow across the cracked dirt around the crumbling buildings. It is a world devoid of life. In the distance, the once shining city of Moon Harbor stands tall and grimy against a graying sky. Small in this panel, a figure stands.
You had so much potential, Brian. Asimov, the Void Viper. Together we had unimaginable power. Your fangs, my fire. But now the Earth is a wasteland. Gray, decomposing, the ground cracks with every futile human step. Null is relishing this, devouring it slowly, sapping the life out of the plants, causing crops to rot and animals to wither away. He wants this planet to suffer for the pain that you inflicted, Brian. You, Enki, the woman, and the vain one. You 5 humans responsible for all this destruction. It burns me to say this, but you could have stopped it. You might have been the only ones who could. With enough time, you had a chance. But now, your team is scattered, ashes flung across the city, Gaia never bore Enki upon the world, and you?
We get a headshot showing this figure's face. We don't know them, but we know the fire in their eyes, inside the body of this stranger, as fearsome and powerful as ever. The smiling phoenix observes the world around them.
Well, at least I have your grave to keep me company.
The next panel shows a close-up of the makeshift grave. 5 words scratched unceremoniously into a rock. Brian. Asimov. Void Viper. Hero. Welcome to Moon Harbor Heroes. This issue is Doomsday, a Faces story, Part 1. On the cover, the silhouette of Moon Harbor stands against a dusty gray sky. In the foreground, rubble falls in the ruins of what once might have been a familiar park. Scattered across the ground are disheveled, discarded, and disgraced reminders of the old team. Lighthammer's helmet with the visor cracked in half. Sana's magical staff broken in 2. A small pile of burning comics and anime DVDs. A pile of scrap that used to be Isaac. And more. Prominently featured is Brian's grave. In the middle of all these, a single plant sprouts from the cracked earth. We turn the page and our story continues.
Monarch Power Outpost. To get a 25% coupon towards your next purchase of personal protection equipment. From hazmat suits to antibiotic injectables and more.
This message will repeat in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are living in unprecedented times. The human race has never encountered days darker than this. But together, we can be strong and work to build a better world for this and future generations.
At the top of our next page, a small group of people huddle around a radio. Around them, makeshift tents of canvas and tarp shake in the light breeze. The lettering of the radio is jagged, nearly indiscernible, as if static threatens to overtake it completely.
Is there more of that?
The squirrel? Sure, but it's a little dusty.
Everything's a little dusty, but I'm starving.
It's not much, but here.
Thanks. Gamey.
That's generous. It's like chewing on leather.
Quiet down. It's almost time for the news.
Ah, yes, because there's so much news to report on. This just in. The world is literally crumbling into itself. There's white fire everywhere.
In a shocking turn of events, there still ain't enough clean water to drink, let alone shower in.
And the companies that have it are selling it at astronomical costs.
'Cause what would Armageddon be without someone profiting off of it?
I get it. But seriously, it's starting.
Good evening. This is MHBC, the Moon Harbor Broadcast Channel, reporting the news every day at 8, noon, 4, and 8. I'm Trina Astin. Today's top story, a white pillar of flame has overtaken the heart of Halcyon City, forcing locals to evacuate.
Do we need to listen to that crap?
Well, it beats listening to the same Monarch Power commercial on loop.
What I wouldn't give for some trashy reality TV show.
There's nothing we can do about it, so shut up.
And who is this with you?
This is my son, my pride and joy, the hero El Aguila Jr., though I think of him as El Pequeño Aguila.
Dad.
I'm joking, of course, but you will always be my little eagle.
El Aguila Jr., there are numerous videos of you saving people alongside your dad in Halcyon City yesterday. People are calling you the greatest hero of your generation. What do you have to say to that?
Thanks, I guess.
You know kids these days, so modest, and so bad at public speaking.
What I mean to say is that I hope I can be an inspiration to younger people who want to be heroes. We need all the heroes we can get nowadays.
So true. Now, El Aguila, having seen firsthand the way these pillars of flame can burn through an urban area, what do you recommend for people in other metropolitan regions?
You can never be too careful. Listen for emergency sirens. If you hear one, start heading away from the center of the city. Don't take public transport.
Hey, I was listening to that.
Why? He's a dick.
The panel shows a woman, her face away from the reader appearing in the group. Maybe she's been there the whole time. Maybe she just materialized.
Trust me, if you knew him, you wouldn't bother listening. Nothing that comes out of his mouth is worth hearing.
Yeah, right. Like you know a hero like Aguila.
We've met in passing. I know his daughter.
I didn't know he had a daughter.
Neither does he.
Listen, lady, I don't care if you know Golden Scepter himself. I want to hear the rest of this.
Major metropolitan area. The 8 cities which have been decimated by this unearthly threat have all been centers of superheroic activity. Waypoint, Patch City, Halcyon City, Cadence, Apex City, a second Halcyon City, Protean City, and this a third Halcyon City. Moon Harbor City officials are already preparing for the potential of an evacuation from Moon Harbor, though many citizens have already fled.
Yeah, the smart ones.
You're still here.
Exactly.
Their homes. Even as resources get scarce.
The crackling lettering of the radio transitions to a dark hallway in what looks like a medieval castle. Water trickles down the walls with a persistent drip near the floor. Standing on opposite sides of the panel are the diminutive form of Sana, aka Portia, and the towering form of Curse, her supervillainous father.
Turn off that drivel at once.
Alright, Dad.
Excuse me?
Yes, Father? Sir?
Why I let you keep that noise machine, I'll never know.
It's good to stay informed.
Informed about what, exactly? What is there to know that we can't see out our window?
Well, other cities...
Other cities are none of our business.
Dad,
What did you say?
Sorry, Father.
You what? Speak up, girl.
Nothing.
Good. Best not to speak if you don't have anything useful to say. Have you checked the warding around the courtyard?
Not yet.
And yet you were sitting here listening to that hero prattle on.
It was just a minute.
Of course. It was just a minute. A minute that the warding could have fallen because you didn't check it. A minute that could have been better spent on your studies so you could attempt to become a halfway decent magic user and not be an embarrassment to my name. A minute of wasted oxygen listening to someone you'll never meet talk about things that do not affect you. But of course, it was just a minute. How silly of me.
I needed a break.
Curse flings the radio against the wall. It shatters. The next panels are fragmented like the broken pieces. In each fragment, Sana's eyes well up with increasingly more tears. Her one connection to the outside world severed.
Now you won't be tempted to waste any more time. Say thank you, Sana.
Thank you, Father.
What are you still doing here? The warding. Now.
Yes, Father.
The layout of the next series of panels curves down the page, a spiral of images to match the twisted staircase. We follow Sana as she walks through the cavernous sanctum, past the library where once Sana used the bust of her father as a weapon, past her bedroom where she and Nube once planned to escape, and into the open courtyard.
El Aguila Jr., why do you sound so familiar?
Sana begins walking the perimeter of the courtyard. Just outside the massive stone gates, a few citizens meander, unaware of the medieval fortress just inches from them. A car speeds by, blaring its horn.
Seriously? It's the apocalypse. How is there even traffic right now?
A jump cut follows the onomatopoeia of the car horn to see Daisy, aka the real Lighthammer, sitting in the back of a limousine. She wears her full gold and teal costume, her voice slightly distorted through the helmet speakers. She impatiently checks her watch. The onomatopoeia of her foot tapping rises steadily against the bottom of the page. She sits across from a publicist, who eagle-eyed readers will recognize as Brandi Moore.
Life doesn't stop because the world is ending, Miss Lighthammer. After all, it's the apocalypse, and you're still doing interviews.
It's a forum to discuss safety procedures in case...
In case Moon Harbor is also engulfed in a pillar of white flame, like every other major city in North America.
Eloquent as ever, Brandi. Who's coming to this thing?
Aguila. His son will be there, too. And Missing Legs.
There's a name I haven't heard in a while.
And I think one of the writers is going to be there.
Ryder Hayun?
No, the gold one.
Typhon?
Right, that's his name.
So they're really bringing the B-listers, huh? Forget about Darkmark, forget about Glacier. It'll be me and a bunch of second-rate masqueraders. Couldn't they get anyone actually important?
Every hero is important, Lighthammer.
I know. I've been getting this same lecture from my dad since I was like 3.
Speaking of your dad, how is he?
He's fine.
I know he was having...
I said he's fine.
In the back of this panel, faintly drawn, Daisy sits at her father's bedside holding his hand. This is the original Lighthammer, whose mantle was stolen by our Lighthammer and later was passed on to Daisy. He has breathing tubes in his nose and looks frailer than we've ever seen him before.
What are my talking points for this thing?
You're here to urge people to evacuate preemptively.
Great. The Doomsday deniers are gonna love that.
They're not your target demographic. Let Aguila deal with them. Oh, there's an opening number from Aria.
I'm sorry. This Safety Awareness Forum has musical numbers?
Apparently she's promoting some superhero musical she's working on.
It's an interesting time to do that.
We always need performers. That's why we have people like you.
I'm not a performer. I'm a hero.
What is heroism if not a performative display of morality?
What?
Never mind. We're here.
Tea check?
No food in them, no lipstick on them, pearly white as ever.
All right, then let's go.
The car door is opened from outside by a chauffeur. In the next panel, Daisy steps out into the crowd, her former sour attitude seemingly erased in the flashes of cameras and the roar of adoring fans. One particular member of the press gets close to Daisy and takes a picture, the bright light segueing us to see the smiling phoenix in their new host body, still standing over Brian's grave.
She was the first one I found, the other Lighthammer. Daisy, what was she to you, friend, teammate, girlfriend? I have known your thoughts and yet do not understand them. Finding her was easy. She's everywhere. Public, visible, loud, so loud. And she was nothing like the Daisy you knew before. There was no kindness, no warmth, nothing but hollowness and a need for external validation. Much like the first Lighthammer. Your Lighthammer. I wasn't able to find him. I am sorry for that, Brian. There's no love lost between him and I, but I know you would have wanted to know where he is. And know that he's safe. But I can give you no such comfort. Perhaps he's dead as well, like you are. Perhaps even reborn, like Enki. Perhaps he's living somewhere blissfully unaware of everything he lost. The women, they were harder to locate. Sana is locked away under her father's constant observation. I only know that she's alive because she is careless with the warding around her home, so I've seen glimpses of her, a strong one. She's forced to be someone else. A woman masquerading as a boy, clearly miserable in her skin. I do not understand how other humans do not see the pain she's in. It emanates from her, like steam. One time in my life I would have reveled in that agony, but now her anguish fills me with a dull ache. None of them know anything about what came before. They move around this rotting world the same way all other humans do. Their happiness is empty, as if they know something is missing. Phantom sensations for people, places, things they do not remember to miss. I thought I understood humanity, Brian. I saw it through your eyes and understood the mechanics of the things a human feels, how they feel, but I cannot grasp the why. Why do they feel the way they do? Why do people stay in the city as it deteriorates around them? They speak of home as if it is a steadfast thing, a place where they feel comfortable, known, at peace. It's not a building, it's an intangible concept, synonymous with safety.
As they say that, we see a few panels of familiar locations that once were home to our team. The Star Building, where Brian lived. Enki's Grove in the park. Lighthammer's gaudy apartment. Their line work is faint, and they're slightly sepia-toned, but recognizable all the same. The smiling Phoenix's text bubble carries over all of them, a voiceover.
If that's true, Brian, if that's what home is, you were the only home I ever had.
The last 3 panels of Home shows Curse's Gothic fortress. In one of the windows, Sana stares out at the sky. The next panel cuts in to see her, alone in her room, in the quiet. From outside her door, loud footsteps approach.
Lady Sana?
Sana opens the door to see Gargoyle, an animated statue created by Curse to do his bidding, in her doorway.
Gargoyle, I missed you.
I was surveying the city for your father.
And?
I'm afraid Master Curse won't be pleased. The outskirts of the city are starting to be affected by collapsing infrastructure. Water main failures, poor road conditions, bridge disrepair.
Why would my father be upset about that?
In the case of an evacuation, you too would need to use those same routes to escape.
It's not like he's gonna leave. Even if the sanctum was crumbling into itself, he'd assume his words would hold. And if it doesn't, his final words will be blaming me.
Lady Sana, you should not speak this way about Master Curse.
I know, he makes me so angry. His pride's gonna get him killed. It's gonna get all of us killed.
It's you and your father that I worry about. I am simply a construct, like the other servants.
Don't say that.
It's true. Death has no power over me because I never had life. I don't have feelings like you do.
You have more feelings than most humans I know.
Then there is a flaw in my master's spell work, and should be reported.
No, don't do that. Don't report it. I don't want him taking you away. You're my friend. My only friend.
Lady Sana, I must insist.
Please, I don't want to be alone.
All right. I will not notify my Master Curse of this just yet.
Thank you, Gargoyle.
I hope this is not overstepping, but I got you a present.
From behind his back, Gargoyle pulls out the previously shattered radio. It is haphazardly put back together, a fragile combination of magic and duct tape.
Listening to this brings you joy, does it not?
Gargoyle, I
can't guarantee that I fixed it perfectly, but it does work for now, at least.
It's perfect.
Listen quietly. I don't want Master Curse to break it again. I do not believe I have the skills to fix it a second time.
Are you suggesting that I lie to my father, Gargoyle?
I would never do such a thing.
I'm just teasing. Thank you. This is really sweet.
I will leave you to it then. Lady Sana?
Yes?
Why did you say that I have feelings?
You made this for me, to make me happy.
That is my purpose.
Your purpose is to serve my father. This was something you did out of kindness.
Ah, I see. Thank you, Lady Sana.
As Gargoyle leaves, Sana turns on the radio. The same crackling lettering appears over it as words begin.
Remember, that everyone has a part to play in making this
a major cataclysmic event. In just a few minutes, we will bring some heroes and city officials to the stage to facilitate the forum and field any questions you may have. Before then, however, please enjoy Power from their upcoming musical, Spotlight, performed at the Conway Performing Arts Center.
Music notes appear over the radio, carrying over to the top of the next page. Now the music is coming over a green room speaker, where Daisy is getting her makeup touched up by a stylist. Brandi, her publicist, stands by. In the background of these panels, Nube, currently dressed as El Aguila Jr., sits, pretending not to pay attention.
Alright, go over your talking points once more.
A simultaneous mass evacuation will cause gridlock and bottlenecking, which will greatly increase the chance of injury to both you and others. If you have anywhere outside of the city to go, I urge you to do so today to prevent
the situation from escalating any further.
Right.
Say it.
To prevent the situation from escalating any further.
Now the whole thing.
Brandi, really?
We've been over this.
I know, I'll get it. but you lecturing me about it doesn't help.
You're going on any minute. We don't have time for hand-holding. I need you to memorize these points. Now.
Okay.
Great.
She sounds like my dad.
The next panel shows Nube in more focus. There's an editor's note above her that reads, "Without Sana, Nube never came out. She is now being toted around as her father's perfect son, and even more perfect sidekick, El Aguila Jr."
Aguila Jr. I didn't see you there.
Didn't mean to eavesdrop. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm Lighthammer.
El Aguila Jr. You said that. I'm sorry.
You don't need to apologize. You're new to this whole thing.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, I know. That wasn't a question. I make it a point to know everyone in the scene. Networking.
I wouldn't even know where to start with that.
I use flashcards. And I follow them on social medias. Eventually, it becomes second nature. And you start memorizing names. For instance, that is Ryder Typhon.
In this panel, just below her speech bubble, a young man in a Gold Ranger-type suit walks through the door. An editor's note labels him as Ryder Typhon, aka Felix, the other Lighthammer's boyfriend in the other universe.
Lighthammer, how are you?
Thriving, as always.
Of course. I wouldn't expect anything less.
We should schedule another team-up soon. My audience loves our dynamic.
Your audience knows I'm gay, right?
I wasn't talking about a romantic dynamic. Please, you are so not my type. You're just a little too muscular for me. I prefer like a scrawny nerd type.
Weirdly, if you were a guy, you'd be exactly my type. Loud, attention-grabbing, kind of a diva.
Are you two complimenting or insulting each other? I can't tell.
I'm sorry, I'm so rude. Ryder Typhon, meet Aguila Jr.
I've seen you on the news. You're very impressive.
Isn't he?
Thank you?
No problem. Gotta cheer on our fellow legacies.
We're all next gens. Didn't notice that. The new Aguila, the new Ryder, the new Lighthammer.
Nothing like the crushing weight of trying to live up to your parents. Well, your parents. My uncle.
Unless the whole father-son thing is just for show, Aguila?
I wish. Both of you have been doing this for a while, right?
I started about 5 years ago, I think.
I've been saving kittens from trees since I was like 4.
And you?
First public appearance a few weeks ago.
During the apocalypse. Nice.
What was it like growing up like this?
It was great. Not much privacy, but great. A publicist, personal stylist, makeup crews.
That sounds very nice.
You don't have to worry about all that. Boys don't need stylists. Besides, you're very put together.
My dad had my costume made, so it complemented his. The ideal sidekick for photo ops.
My dad won't let me touch his suit. He said it isn't meant for me, whatever that means. And then we have Mr. Ryder over there, whose suit just appears on him.
It's not that simple, but yeah, I don't have to exactly worry about accessorizing.
Is Ryder Hayun coming?
No. My uncle is otherwise occupied today. I'm sure he would have loved to see your dad. Is he around somewhere?
He's at home. He doesn't really like coming to these things anymore.
Well, please, give him my best, and tell him my uncle says hello.
A speech bubble comes in from off-panel, bold, loud, in very large letters.
Who do I have to kill to get a cup of coffee around here?
In the panel, overshadowed by the words, Nube winces. Daisy and Felix notice. There is a panel of them exchanging a small look. Then they look back at Nube.
You good?
What?
You look like you just got roundhouse to the chest.
He is kind of...
aggressive, blunt, callous?
I was going to say a lot.
That too.
There's nothing to be embarrassed of. Nobody likes their parents.
I don't dislike him, we just don't understand each other.
In the background of the panel, as Nube is talking, a crew member wheels a rack of costumes past. The first one is a sky blue jumper, then a pink blouse, then a white dress, followed by another pink blouse, and a blue coat. Because the artists in this comic are exceptionally good at being subtle.
It must be hard to be heroes together.
Not really. He tells me what to do. I do it. We just don't know each other. And that's fine.
I mean, that's something.
In the next panel, El Aguila strides up to the group.
Lighthammer. Ryder Typhon.
Aguila. So good to see you again.
You too, of course. I see you've both met my son, El Aguila Jr.
We were just having a nice chat.
That's good. My son doesn't get out a lot, so having friends his age is a good thing.
Dad!
I'm sure I'm not telling them anything they don't already know. You can be a bit socially awkward.
Well, he seems perfectly lovely to me.
He does seem to have his father's skill with the ladies.
This is just a professional conversation between some like-minded colleagues.
Of course. But you can have my card if you want to contact him for any reason.
Thanks.
Where is that makeup girl? I need a touch-up.
You wear makeup?
Everyone does for these things.
Should I?
I don't think that would be wise. You don't need it. You don't get washed out on camera like I do. Where is that girl?
You know, I think I saw her head out back.
Thank you, Ryder Typhon. You'd think she'd be where she's supposed to be, but I suppose it's true that you can't get good help these days.
You're right. He doesn't know you at all.
And that's our cue.
Thank you for joining us today to discuss safety protocols in the event of a major cataclysm.
The next panel is a wide shot, showing a glowing TV in a darkened bedroom. On it, a video plays of that same forum. There are small call-out panels scattered across the page. Close-up on Charles King, the original Lighthammer, lying in bed, eyes closed. Another, closer, on a breathing tube in his nose. Yet another, showing a heart rate monitor screen. Then a close-up on a hand holding his. The next panel pulls back to show the mysterious woman who had been listening to the radio earlier, kneeling beside his bed.
Hey, old man. I don't know if you can hear me, but I just wanted to say that I tried to stop him. I found out that Null was Nathaniel Hull, and I thought that we could stop it. Stop all of this. I didn't want you to lose Daisy. I didn't want Sana and Nube to lose each other. But I wasn't a good enough leader. And we lost. And now here. You weren't like this in the other timeline. I did this to you. If I had been better, I could have saved you. Saved everyone. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
The next panel shows a close-up on the figure's face, revealing it to be Requiem, formerly Lighthammer. They present differently, more feminine, a person in the early to mid stages of a transition. Their hair, once supernaturally perfect, hangs in matted curls by their face, shaggy and unkempt. Tears run down their world-weary cheek.
So do me a favor and wake up, okay? Call me an idiot or say something nebulously supportive. Or just berate me for stealing your hammer. Anything, just wake up, please. Okay, I'm gonna fix this, okay? For you, for Brian, for Enki. So you have to hang on until I do, okay? Just give me a little bit more time and I will make this right. Please just hang on.
Dad, I'm home.
The next panel reflects the first in this scene, a wide shot of the darkened room. Daisy is at the door to the bedroom. Requiem, nearly invisible save a faint outline against the wall, slips, as she is wont to do, into the shadows. Daisy flips a switch and the lamp illuminates, revealing an end table next to her father with a photograph with the two of them on it. It shows Daisy as a child trying to pull along the eponymous light hammer, In the reflection of the glass, Daisy looks to her father. She is still for a moment, then Charles coughs. It is a frail cough, the onomatopoeia tiny on the page. There is a close-up panel on Daisy's hand grabbing his, an exact repeat of the one with Requiem a moment ago.
It's okay, Dad. I'm here. Let me get you some water.
A panel follows her around the house as she races to the kitchen. We see from her perspective as she opens the fridge. In the next panel, a hand reaches into it, but not her hand. It's the hand of an older man. He pulls back with a beer in hand.
Want one, Papito?
We transition to El Aguila's apartment. It's nothing fancy, but very homey. Nube sits on the couch, clearly uncomfortable.
I'm 17.
You're a man now. You're a hero. You have saved countless lives. You can have a beer.
I don't really want to.
You worry too much. Here, drink with me. To a successful forum.
Ugh. Why do people drink this?
You'll get used to it. It's what men drink.
Dad,
Now, I want to talk about your interviews today. The second one was good. The forum, you stepped it up. I think that Lighthammer girl's a good influence on you.
We barely talked.
Still, it seems like she was rubbing off on you. You should call her.
I don't know her at all.
Do you find her attractive?
Sure, but...
Then what's the problem?
I don't think she thinks about me like that. We had a 4-minute conversation. That's it.
That's a start. Your mother and I hadn't spoken before our first date. I saved her life, and then we went out for a drink. And look where it got us.
Divorced. With her living in Acapulco with her new wife.
No. It isn't Acapulco. It's half an hour inland of Acapulco. That's like saying you live in New York when you live in New Jersey. And your mommy and I had many good years. We have a wonderful son, so it was all worth it. Don't you agree?
Sure.
As I was saying, the second interview, that was good. The first one, though...
I know. I stumbled over my words. I didn't stick to the script.
None of that matters.
Then what did I do wrong?
You weren't strong, mijo. A man needs to be strong. Physically powerful, emotionally steadfast, publicly commanding.
I'm not any of those things.
You're every bit as physically mighty as I am. The rest can be learned.
Well, I don't want to be any of those things.
I understand your generation thinks sensitivity is the way to be masculine. You have to be in touch with your feelings. But, Papito, you're wrong. The world doesn't respect sensitive men. They don't fear sensitive men.
I don't want them to fear me, Dad.
Well, that's what it means to be in charge. Holding your power over someone until their fear turns into adoration.
I don't want that.
You think you don't want that, but you will. That's what it means to be Los Águilas. We are respected. And if we aren't, then we're feared.
I don't...
Enough. I don't want to hear any more of this. Drink. You'll get used to it soon. How is your mother doing?
Dad, we agreed not to talk about this.
You brought her up.
She's fine. She and Marisol are very happy.
That's good.
They mentioned they saw you recently. They said you were floating outside the window.
I was just checking in on her, making sure she's safe.
She doesn't want your protection.
One day, when you have a wife, you'll understand. This is just something men have to do.
Can we stop with all the men talk?
I just want you to know what is expected of you. Not just as my son, my legacy, but as a man in this day and age. Too many men in your generation are growing up to be sissies.
I'm going to my room.
Sit down and finish your beer.
No.
Sit down.
No.
I don't know who taught you to speak to your father like this, but it'll stop now.
El Aguila and Nube are face to face now. A 6-panel spread. El Aguila glares. Nube glares. The panels tighten. El Aguila stares. Nube stares. even tighter panels. Aguila stares. Nube looks away.
Yes, sir.
Good boy. Drink your beer. What do you want to bet that I can make this shot?
Aguila throws the beer can towards a trash can. A panel shows it hitting the ground. The next panel, directly underneath, has a beer can in the same position, but the background has changed from an apartment to an alley. A golden boot swings towards it in the panel. The next panel shows Daisy, patrolling the streets, kicking the can across the pavement. Onomatopoeia follows it as it skitters away from her. It is dark, but Daisy is a glowing beacon of gold and teal. Her helmet and twin hammers shine as she moves through the gloomy alleyways. A small muted thud is written behind her.
I don't know who you are, but I'd stay back if I were you.
Relax, Daisy. It's just me.
Stop calling me Daisy, Requiem. It's Lighthammer.
Right, no, of course. Lighthammer. You should probably check the mic on your helmet. You kind of sound like a robot. In my timeline, I had to turn the gain, all the way down, and
I'm
then...
not in the mood for your universe's collapsing conspiracy theory right now.
It's not a theory, it's real.
So you said. In the real world, you were Lighthammer first, and then I came along when the universes collided the first time. But then they collided a second time, and now you're the only person who remembers.
Exactly.
You're delusional.
You know there are things in this timeline that don't make sense.
Look around you, Requiem. Major cities are being destroyed in sky-high columns of white flame. The world is literally ending. Nothing makes sense.
And no one knows why. Isn't that strange?
They're working on it.
They've been working on it for years, and they still haven't figured out a cause. Because the cause isn't in this dimension. Because it's Null, who is in my dimension. Or somewhere between dimensions. I don't actually know where he is, but he's not here.
Is there something you need, Requiem?
Just saying hi.
And look, you did it. Can you leave now?
What's wrong, Daisy? We used to be so close.
I don't know you.
You think you don't know me.
I'm going to beat you with these hammers.
Right. 2 hammers, because your dad won't let you have the big one.
Don't talk about my dad.
He said the hammer is not meant for you, right? Who does he think it's meant for, then?
It's a display piece. It's just hanging on the wall with my dad's old suit. It isn't meant for anyone. Besides, 2 handheld hammers are easier to manipulate. I'm more agile.
I did pretty okay with the big one.
Enough. You can talk about your wild conspiracies all you want, but leave my dad and the Lighthammer legacy out of it.
Sorry.
If you aren't going to leave, can you at least shut up? It's hard to be stealthy patrolling when someone's constantly chatting at you.
It's hard to be stealthy when your costume literally shines in the darkness. The dark costume is much sneakier. And it's so slimming.
You're so obnoxious.
Your suit has sound powers. Just put a soundproof bubble around us.
I can't do that.
3rd button from the left on the right gauntlet. Press and hold it to create the bubble. Press and hold it again and it goes away. Press it twice and you can mute other people.
I can do what now?
Yeah, all you have to do is press it twice while pointing at someone, and they get a soundproof bubble around them, effectively...
In the panel, Requiem is suddenly surrounded by a bubble of incredibly delicate line art, silencing them.
Oh, that's a fun trick.
Requiem goes up and taps Daisy on the shoulder, repeatedly, the onomatopoeia of tap, 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 tap.
Knock it off, Requiem.
Tap, 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 tap,
Seriously,
tap, tap,
stop.
Tap, 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 tap.
Okay. There, it's down. Are you happy now?
Thank you.
Who would have guessed that you'd be more annoying when I can't hear you?
My powers of irritability know no bounds.
You don't say.
Why are you patrolling anyway? No one is doing crimes right now. Hurting people is irrelevant since the world is gonna burn any day. And there's nothing left to rob except food and clean water, and you're not awful enough to attack someone for that.
People will always sow chaos for fun, Requiem.
Sure, but not in Moon Harbor. Chaos requires other people to buy in, but everyone here is just basically a shambling corpse waiting for the end.
Such a cheerful outlook. I prefer to maintain optimism.
So you're optimistically wandering around the city looking for someone to fight.
If you're not careful, you'll be that someone.
Hey, I'm just here to keep you company.
I don't want company. I want to hit something.
There's the Daisy I know.
It's Lighthammer.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, Requiem, back off. I've humored this conversation, but my patience is wearing thin.
Right, because I'm gonna be scared of the girl who still can't eat a pancake with a smiley face because she doesn't want to hurt it.
Are you stalking me or something?
No, I told you, we know each other. Hey!
Daisy swings the hammers. Requiem dodges.
Whoa, you tried to hit me.
Whoa, what an astute realization.
I can't believe you tried to hit me.
I warned you.
Yeah, but you're usually all empty threats. Hey!
A fight begins. Requiem is entirely evasive while Daisy attacks. On the page, Requiem becomes an outline against the wall, hiding herself from Daisy's sight. We see the same outlined Requiem disappearing and popping into existence behind Daisy. Daisy spins with the hammer outstretched, the word whoosh trailing behind on the page. But she misses Requiem, who appears on a fire escape above.
How did you get up there?
I teleported?
You can teleport?
Yeah, it was a special gift from your old mentor.
Greyhammer?
No, the other one in the other universe.
With a blur of motion lines, Daisy jumps and grabs the fire escape, then swings herself up into it. She lands in front of Requiem, the two of them in a pulled-back two-shot. As they stand face-to-face, there are a bunch of tiny panels around the perimeter. Requiem reaching for the watch that allows her to teleport in one, Daisy's hands tightening around the hammers in the other, a bead of sweat dripping down each of their faces. Then, there's an explosion of action. Daisy swings the hammers at Requiem, who disappears from the panel and appears in the same panel on the ground. Daisy jumps towards Requiem, hammers above her head so aggressive that they smash into the gutter. She lands, attacks, Requiem dodges. Daisy gets more and more frantic with her swings, more on a hinge, until one of her hammers slams into the dumpster with a clap.
Are you okay?
My dad is dying.
I'm sorry. Can I do anything?
You can leave.
I'm not leaving you alone here.
Please.
Daisy,
Requiem. Other Lighthammer. Whatever your name is. I need to be alone.
Okay. I'm going then. I'll just...
From off-panel, the onomatopoeia of an explosion.
Got to be kidding me.
Come on. You wanted something to hit? Let's go hit something.
The two of them run off the panel. We turn the page to the smiling phoenix in his new form, a flame in the middle of a park. The park, seen so often in Moon Harbor. The phoenix is throwing fireballs at nothing, exploding trash cans and benches and anything else that looks flammable. Our next panel shows Lighthammer and Requiem arriving. The real Lighthammer immediately leaps into action, her hammers whipping through the air, slashes of gold on a dark panel. Lighthammer and the Phoenix lock into combat. Daisy swings a hammer. The Phoenix throws up a shield made of flame. The Phoenix swipes at Daisy with fiery claws. She dodges out of the way. Firelight reflects off Lighthammer's gilded costume as the two powerhouses vent their rage on each other.
You got this, Daisy. Yell if you need me.
I won't.
Okay, but I can teleport right in if you do.
I said it won't.
Daisy takes a flaming fist to the stomach and goes stumbling backwards.
Sure you don't need help?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm right here.
Shut up, Requiem.
Daisy lands a fist right to the side of the smiling phoenix's jaw. They get knocked into the air and Daisy kicks them in the chest, sending them rolling across the ground. They end up at Requiem's feet. There is a grid of 4 panels showing Requiem and the Phoenix looking into one another's eyes. The first 2 show their respective eyes, locking. In the next, they both widen with surprise.
No way.
Daisy leaps forward, a golden motion line behind her, to deliver the finishing blow to the Phoenix.
Daisy, stop!
Daisy's attacks land on Requiem's outstretched forearms as she steps in to protect the smiling Phoenix from taking the hit.
What the hell, Requiem?
I don't need your help, Lighthammer.
Good, because I'm not helping you.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the other one.
What are you talking about?
Daisy, please. Just trust me. I know them. They're from my world, and they know me, and I know you don't believe me, but I might actually be able to make things right if you just let them go.
They're a villain.
They're just blowing up trash cans. They're venting steam just like you are. It's harmless.
Why are you defending them?
Because I need something to hold on to, okay? Because everything is falling apart and no one else remembers what I remember, and I just need something stable in my life.
Can you swear that they won't hurt anyone?
No. But I'll handle it if they do.
2 long panels of intense eye contact between Lighthammer and Requiem. Then, the real Lighthammer leaves.
So... Hey, Phoenix? Long time no see?
With a blast of flame, the Phoenix sends Requiem sprawling and takes off into the night.
Ow! No fair! I wasn't ready!
Requiem follows, but the Phoenix is faster. We get several panels as Requiem runs, the firelight getting dimmer and dimmer until she is alone in the dark. Then we turn the page to see the Phoenix at Brian's grave once more.
He remembers, or she. He looked like a woman, but it was still Lighthammer. I know it was, and they knew me. The first person who remembered what I remembered, who I thought was gone. Brian, there might be
hope.
How did you find me?
Phoenix, if there's one thing we have in common, it's that boy right there. Hey, Brian.
He can't hear you. He's dead.
Says the eternal parasite who was just monologuing at his grave.
It helps me to process thinking out loud.
It helps me too. Especially now. I didn't think anyone else remembered. Why us?
Why would I know that?
You're in touch with all that supernatural, godlike power stuff. You'd know better than I would.
I don't know anything, Lighthammer.
Oh, it's actually Requiem now? Or Nick is fine. But like N-I-K, not N-I-C-K. People say you can't really hear the difference, but it's like a vibes thing. I can totally tell.
I will call you Requiem.
Right, of course. Because even in a world where we're the only 2 people who remember anything that happened before, we can never be casual with one another or even pretend to be friends.
I would never be your friend.
No, yeah, I got the implication. Thanks.
Brian had a fondness for you. I have no such feelings.
Yeah, we're on the same page there, bud. But even if we are mortal enemies or whatever, I'm still really glad that I'm not alone in all of this anymore. I miss him.
I do too.
Yeah, no, that's pretty obvious. You wouldn't be standing here at his grave if you didn't.
Yes, I suppose that's true. I looked for you.
Did you?
I thought he would want me to, but I couldn't find you.
Yeah, that was kind of by design. I've been trying to avoid the spotlight, and it's actually been kind of nice not being in the public eye. I cannot believe I just said that. Who am I?
You're different here.
I mean, you too. You've got a new flesh suit. Who are you wearing? God, it makes you sound like you're on a red carpet. Who is that?
An investment banker.
Oh, white collar. That's gotta be nice. Nice apartment?
I don't know. He wants to go home, but I don't want to leave this place.
Yeah, I get that. But I gotta say, buddy, you look like hell.
I've been there. There are lakes of lava and cities of obsidian. I do not look like that.
Well, you at least look like you could use a good night's sleep. And a shower. Phoenix, you desperately need a shower. You might not notice, but I certainly do. You reek.
These things are immaterial to me.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they're not immaterial to me, so you're gonna have to start taking care of yourself if I'm gonna stick around.
Stick around?
Look, I'm not trying to write us into some buddy cop movie. I think we both need to not be alone for a little while. Just give me a few days. Let me use your investment banker's swanky apartment to clean up and do laundry, and then I'll go.
You don't have to.
No, trust me, I do. I need to wash this costume very badly.
That's not what I meant. You don't have to go.
While I love this Jolden Girls roommate fantasy you've got going on, I don't think we'd exactly be great roommates.
No, but if you and I both remember, me with powers and you without... then maybe this universe isn't as broken as I thought. Maybe we can put pieces back together.
God, you are so cryptic. What do you mean?
I'm saying, what if you and I saved the world?
We get a pulled back panel of the two of them, standing on a hill outside the crumbling Moon Harbor, beside their mutual friend's grave. Behind them, for the first time in a long time, the sun begins to rise over the city skyline.
Thank you for listening to Doomsday, a Faces story. This issue was written and edited by Tess Huth, based on characters and stories from Faces, GM'd by Icy Sheets. The editor was played by Crumpit. The Smiling Phoenix was played by Jacob Cordas. The Monarch Power commercial was played by Kati Kawaguchi. Citizen 1 was played by Rose Hahn. Citizen 2 was played by Evitablefate. Citizen 3 was played by Alice Kyra. Trina Astin was played by Jane. Aguila was played by J Cuevas. Nube/Quetzal was played by Fabby Garza. Nick/Requiem/Lighthammer was played by Tess Huth. Curse was played by Tanay Chase. Sana/Portia was played by Satya Amira Omer. Daisy/The Real Lighthammer was played by Alix Galit. Brandi Moore was played by Elliot Peterson. Gargoyle was played by Jules. The forum host was played by JPG. Ryder Typhon was played by Kaito Cain. Charles/the original Lighthammer was played by Jon Jon Johnson. The archival recording of Power from A Very Merry March Masksmith Issue 2 Spotlight was written by Tess Huth and performed by Kaylin and the Spotlight Ensemble.
On the last page of this issue, past the writer credits and ads, there is a single panel. It shows a dark room with glowing technological lights. An imposing figure stares at a computer screen, where a video of the Smiling Phoenix and Lighthammer's fight in the park plays.
So, the Smiling Phoenix has emerged then. It's no matter. You will eliminate this threat, won't you, Brian?
Yes, Master Null. They won't know what hit them.
And with that, our issue comes to an end.
This issue also featured special appearances by Dave Robinson as Null and Exp as Brian/Void Viper. All sound effects were sourced from freesound.org. All music composed by Tess Huth. If you want to get a hold of us, email us at moonharborheroes@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at moonharborcast. If you enjoyed this issue, please leave us a review on your podcatcher of choice or tell a friend. 5-star reviews and word of mouth are really the best way for us to keep bringing these stories to more people. And thank you for helping us save the world. We'll see you next issue.